What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scratch Agency Podcast, hosted by Scratch Agents for Scratch Agents. My name is Stephen Turnbull, founder of T5 Insurance Services in Clinton, New York, and I'm joined by my co-host today, the one and only, you already know, hold your applause, Mr. Shawn Fitzgerald, founder of Sound Harbor Insurance in Long Island, crazy-ass traffic, New York.
Well, listen,
Got to talk about that for a minute.
we got to talk about where all the people are at, where you live, you know?
We had a little unique situation that I was in Long Island one week, went down for the Hawksoft event, which was amazing, and saw my man Shawn and saw the office and saw where he lived. I don't know how you guys do it down there, but the unique situation was that you came up to Utica for an event, and we got to kind of show each other around town 2 weeks back to back. So it was a lot of fun. I appreciate let's give a shout out. They're definitely not listening, but whatever steakhouse you took us to, we had a great steakhouse dinner with Michael Cruz, Rob Bowen.
That food was phenomenal. That's what it's all about right there.
Let me get that.
I need to sell more policies so I can go back there more often.
Let me get that ribeye again.
100%, man. Yeah, that place is phenomenal. I usually take wifey there, but yeah, for special occasions like this one, got to try it out.
It was great. Well, it was great.
Don't get used to it though.
Down there. No, we're not going anywhere else when I come back. It was great being down there, and it was great having you up here to show you around for a little bit.
For sure. Fun. Yeah, it was cool to check out like where your actual office is and the surrounding area. Like, I always knew the difference between upstate. I've traveled up there, but big difference for sure from what I thought it was. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Literally in the weeds. All right, everybody. We're back. We're back. We got a little shop talk here. We thought it'd be good. Shawn is trying some new things. You want to talk about skinning the cat, which is a theme that we talk about all the time. How many different ways you can skin this Scratch Agency puppy up. Shawn's got a new way that he's working. It's in the same theme, but we wanted to do just a really quick episode and talk about Shawn's experience with leads, Google leads, Meta leads, and our friend Chris Langio has helped you out with that. So Shawn, just introduce us to what you're doing and how it's different, and we'll talk through a few things.
Yeah, I'll start from the beginning here, just how I kind of stumbled across it. I know Google Ads has been around for a long time, but basically what made me think to do this on a bigger level was talking to some of the lead vendors that I purchased leads from and asking them how they generated their leads. And it was basically Google ads, Meta ads, TikTok ads, things of that nature. So I'm like, all right, so I don't completely overwhelm myself. Let me start with Google ads. Because one of the things that Chris told me about, and I think it's, if you're looking to get involved in ads, one thing you need to know, if you go the Meta route, there's a lot of creative that's involved, right? You got to do videos, you got to find photos. It takes a lot more work to get that campaign up and going. With Google, it's just keywords, so literally Chris was in my system, did all the keywords in like 5 minutes. So the setup was extremely simple because there's no real creative behind it, Mm-hmm. So that would just be the one thing I want to share with you guys. So I started this in the middle of July for the Google ads that I have. And what Chris and some of the other people I talked to that have done these campaigns is that usually the first 2 to 3 months is actually a little slow because the campaign needs some steam to kick off and depends how much budget you put towards it, all of those things. So since these numbers are my first 2.5 months, take it with a grain of salt because the next 2 to 3 months could be a lot more efficient. Maybe it's about the same. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll share when that time comes. But just to give you an idea to something I wanted to share before I even dive into what the Google ad numbers are. One of the biggest things I noticed is that the organic leads that I were getting were way more frequent than prior to running the ad. So I went into my CRM and I'm like, I got to check. This seems crazy. So I looked 3 months prior to starting Google Ads. I was averaging 6 leads a month from my website, 6 leads a month. And it was about 75% of them were personal, 25% were commercial. Once I started Google Ads the last 2.5 months, this is just organic leads. This isn't any leads
Paid.
created from the ads. Yes. I got 47 leads in the last 2.5 months from my website. And I'm able to track this
Crazy.
by what specific form the prospect's filling out.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that because if you just look at the numbers only based off the Google Ads, you're not getting the full picture. So I'll go into
Mm.
what my numbers were on the Google Ads over the last 2.5 months, and then separately what they were from the website, so you can get more of a full picture. So I started again Google Ads July 15th. Since then to the end of September, we got 50 leads. These are specifically from the paid ads. We made contact with 31 of the 50 people. That just means they either picked up the phone or responded to the automated email or text. And we quoted 21 of the 31 we contacted, which means the other 10, that we didn't quote, they probably got, disqualified for, their roof is 90 years old, or they had a lapse in insurance the last 9 months, or their house is on fire and they want coverage, that type of stuff. So out of the 21 we quoted, we sold 10 policies. So quote to sell percentage was about 48%, and we generated 3,654 in agency revenue off the 10 policies. So roughly, like, even numbers, $350 revenue per policy. Now, one of the things that I talked to Chris about, to get a fuller picture, and I did spend from July 15th to the end of September, I spent it was like $4,001. Keep in mind, this doesn't capture any cross-selling opportunities. It doesn't capture any referrals generated. It doesn't capture profit sharing, so it doesn't capture the lifetime value of the client. So think about it. Listen, at the end of the day, insurance is a super, super, super sticky business, and that's why we all love it. If you just say that most of the people stay with us for 5 years, that $3,654 is actually $18,270 if it renews for 5 years.
Off of a $4,000 spend.
Yes. Now, the organic traffic that was generated from my website generated another 47 leads. And the same thing, contacted 25 of those, quoted 16 of the 25, sold 9 policies. And that generated another, where were we at? $3,861. So between the website, organic leads, and the Google ad form, we generated $7,515 on a $4,000 ad spend. Now you take the 7,515 and you multiply that by 5, and you're at 37,575 on a 4K ad spend.
Two things I want you
Yeah.
to touch on. One is you kind of glossed over it, but I want you to spend more time on it, is the organic inbound bumped up because of the paid. And Chris,
Correct.
we did an episode, I think, with Chris on this specifically. If not, we need to. I think we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know you and I both talked to him off air separately. But organic bumped up as well as getting a response from the paid, because Google's looking and seeing that you're spending money with them and showing,
Yeah.
showing you more. So I think that's good. One big thing I want you to touch on: 31 out of 50 contacted. Talk to us about the difference between 31 out of 50 contacted and what leads were for Sound Harbor prior to July with the purchase leads that you were doing.
Oh, with the purchase leads I was doing.
I'm
So,
trying to get to the
from
point
like
of the contact rate. And you and I talked about this with
from the lead vendor
Google
you're talking
and
about.
Meta that we're looking at and all of that. I'm just talking in the sense of there's a higher chance of contacting and converting because they are still clicking on your ad. They're still coming to you versus the other thing that you guys do with the paid ads.
Yeah.
It could be 5 agents calling that person because they've hit a generic "I want insurance" button. They're now hitting "I want to talk to Shawn in Sound Harbor because of this ad," and
Yeah.
that that's what the contact rate is increased from. Am I right?
Yeah. So I would actually argue that the contact rate is similar. Like we probably contact about 40 to 50% with even like the purchase leads. Where the drop off is the lead to close. So like for instance, if Google right now, use round numbers, I get 100 leads, I'm writing 20 policies. It's a 20% lead to close. With lead vendors, it's closer to 10%. I
Right.
write, I quote, I contact 100 and I write 10 of them.
Right.
So, and that's because with the lead vendors, they're getting calls from 4 other agents. So
Right.
they're shopping. you know,
Mhm.
with Google, they just might look me up. They talk to me directly. Oh, I like Shawn. Let's just move forward because I don't even want to waste my time speaking to 19 other people
Mhm.
that are going to give me the same figures.
Mhm.
So I feel like the lead to close is the biggest number to look at between the vendors and the paid ads for Google
Mhm.
specifically. And I'll tell you straight up, like the Google ad spend per lead is more expensive than the lead vendors.
Right.
Like let's say I pay, I don't know, $10 a lead at the lead vendor. I might be paying, if we just do the math, 4,000, depends how you want to break it up. If you break it up by 97 leads, I'm paying like $40 a lead,
Mhm.
so it's 4x the cost, but the conversations are way easier. I'm closing double. They're probably going to stick around longer, you know? So like those are just a couple of things like those are definitely the biggest things I've noticed. And one thing I would recommend too, listen, I know everyone's CRM is different, but one of the biggest things, and not to go down a tech wormhole, but which made me be able to track all this information is AgencyZoom has like a flawless integration with Advisor Evolved. So if you have an Advisor Evolved website, you'll be able to track all the data from the Google ads specifically. You'll be able to track all the data from the organic leads specifically versus purchased internet leads if you do that. And that's how I'm able to break up the three of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and
that's been
that
my
we've
experience
said
so
this
far.
before with when you talk to us about these leads and all that, but like you talking about the CRM, talking to the Advisor Vault website and all
Yeah.
of that, like that is all a must if you're going to try this out.
Oh my
Like
God.
Chris and I talked a little bit at our meetup about doing meta ads, which I will probably do at some point. Because and I know you want to talk about that because you're going to dabble in that a little bit too. But we do very well organically on Facebook, right? We do
Yeah.
very well organically. And so
Yeah, you do a
it's
good job there.
just um and the meta ads would just be kind of an addition to that. Oh, there's that Steven's face again, or there's that T5 thing. What is it about? And retargeting that and all that Chris does and helps with. But the what was the point I was trying to get on that with the I just know we're not set up for it right now, right?
Yeah.
Like you are set up for it. You're doing paid leads now. You have the automation set up. You have the forms that's connecting to agencies. So I'm like, I just wanted to say again, and I don't think we can ever say this enough. Like your success with this paid leads game is only going to be as good as your preparation.
100%. Like
That's it.
we had just yesterday, we had automate, like I called this, we got a lead came in a couple weeks ago. I called, no answer. Automated text, automated email, no answer. But we have all the automation built out in CRM. 2 weeks later, the lady messaged me and was like, "Hey, can I get thank you for reaching back out. Can I get that homeowner's quote? It's for this property, new purchase, blah 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 blah." But if I didn't have the automation, I probably would have never contacted her. She probably just would have
Right.
went somewhere else. So those
Right.
those things do make a difference. I would say the biggest thing is the biggest thing is you got to call the lead right away. And
But that
For,
also entails to, can you call the lead right away? Do you have the people? Do you
yeah,
have, or do you have the ability to? How is your agency set up? And that's, you're making a great point on that, because that again ties back into being prepared and having the right foundation set.
for sure. And anybody, listen, if a majority of the audience is scratch agents, you, the owner, are trying to bring revenue in, you should work the leads yourself in the beginning. And
Hmm.
the way to, the way I would do it to set yourself up for success in the future is just start developing some scripts around that. Hey, when a lead comes in, what does that conversation look like? You know, and
Hmm.
because what's going to happen is you're going to bring a producer on, and then you're going to have like, oh man, how do I train this person? They're just going to shadow me, or I would
Right.
rather have the script with the fact finder with this is the personal lines workflow for internet leads specifically,
Hmm.
which is going to be a different process if it's customer referrals specifically or lenders specifically. So,
Right.
those are just important things to know. And, just talking out loud about this, it's crazy. Like the more I hear people talking about, oh, I do personal lines, commercial, this, that, as a small agency, scratch, it's crazy how much work and time it takes to develop a system that can scale just for one line of business. Like
Mm.
I'm leading, everything's leading with homeowners. So all the marketing is homeowners. Like once we said, hey, this is what we're doing, coastal high value homeowners, that made all the difference because that forced us to be like, oh man, all the campaigns we're running, they're not really tailored to homeowners. So the wording on the automation changes, for the text messages, for the emails, the phone call scripts change. So, forget personal versus commercial. It's also home versus auto versus flood versus umbrella versus
Right.
motorcycle, whatever your vertical is. But you should
Right.
pick one and run with it. That's my that's my 2 cents in what I've learned, I feel like, over the last year. You know.
Hmm. So talk to us about the meta play.
Yeah, so Meta is, I gave Google, a few months, loving it so far. My thought process, and I talked to Chris about this in like detail, is just, do I just, because Google's working, I just turn up the volume and just crank the budget, or do I check Meta and see what the quality is like and compare the two? Like, if I'm getting the same numbers and the leads are half the cost on Meta, then I crank up Meta. So before I like crank up and add more money to the budget, like I want to see which one is more profitable for the agency. And I do
Hmm.
think, like you made a good point that I didn't touch on, is like the Meta play is a really good form of branding. Like it's going to get your name out there in your direct local community, and people are going to constantly see your face, your logo, because there's creative involved, where
Hmm.
Google doesn't have that. So even if people aren't clicking on it, it's still going to be up here,
Hmm.
you know? So that's kind of my play. It's just, I did all the creative this morning before this call, and it was a lot of work, a lot of these types of videos and photos and, different pieces of creative that, Chris kind of guided me through. But hopefully we get that started next week and I could share how that went, and you guys can all use me as a guinea pig.
Love it. Love
But
it. And
yeah,
just a PSA, Chris is not paying us at all to say any of this, but
no,
my man is the OG with this. He like, because I had a call with him of talking about the meta stuff and just what the timing would look like. And you're not going to find a more genuine person that's just going to sit down and tell you what you, first off, what you need to hear, and whether you want to hear it or not. Like, you're not ready unless you do this, or, and he's not going to get you started for no reason. But if you don't have an advisor involved site, I would check him out. I would talk to Chris about the paid ads.
yeah,
There's a few other people in our circle that I know are having success with it, and starting it and looking at it. And again, it's just a whole, it's another part of the puzzle. It's another part of the puzzle in whatever way you can be successful in your journey.
yeah. We talked about it the other day. You got to you're a business owner. We took huge risks to open the agency. We have to continue to take risk and see what works, what doesn't, try new things, see if it works, see
Yep.
if it doesn't, and just roll with the punches, you know?
Yep.
So
Good stuff.
that's all I got. If anybody has
All
any
right, everybody.
questions, they can message me.
quick episode today. We got a few great guests that are lined up down the pipe. Few we've recorded, few that we got coming up for the next few weeks. So just appreciate you being here. We know we got a few new people. We got definitely have had a good amount of few new people joining the Telegram. So thank you for being here. If you don't know what the Telegram is, join scratchagencypodcast.com. Click join the community. Telegram is an app that is just a big group chat. We have, I think, 85, 90 something people inside of the Telegram right
Yeah,
now.
that's awesome.
Daily, ton of great conversation. 87 members that are
Ooh.
helping each other. Market access questions, questions about hiring, questions about process and procedures, inbound leads, whatever. Tons of great conversation. So make sure to join the community if you're checking this out. We appreciate being here. That's another episode of the Scratch Agency Podcast. Do us a favor, like the show, share the show, and subscribe. And most importantly, remember to dig down deep, believe in yourself and in your own future. We'll see you next week. Take care.